Hello, I'm Pam of healingstars.com. This is a full moon chart set for London, 23rd of June 2013, British summertime. Full moon, this is the first full moon as the sun has moved into Cancer, which it does every year at the solstice. And Cancer is the sign to do with the moon. It's governed by the moon. So the sun is in Cancer, Mercury is in Cancer, and so is Venus, 3 planets in that sign. Most importantly at this time, Jupiter is right next to the sun at the top there. And they were exact on the 19th of June. But they're still very close together because the sun is huge and so is Jupiter. So it's not just a question of, at the same degree. They connect with each other for at least 10 degrees, which is actually about 10 days. So Sun and Jupiter is a huge amount of energy, of power, of expansion, of hope, of faith, optimism. That's what Jupiter represents. The Sun is consciousness. Cancer is the sign, a cardinal sign. It's one of the seasons of the year, of course. That's what the summer solstice is all about. It's a turning point in the year, as the sun appears to stand still for 3 days, as it changes direction, as seen from Earth, of course. It doesn't actually go backwards or anything. So there is also a very strong connection at this time with something called the Galactic Centre. That's the sun's sun. And this is a very powerful black hole. It's known as a black hole, but a point in space that the Mayans knew all about. And there have been radio transmissions that have been broadcast and received from that place in space. I have an article on my website describing more about this and the Mayan influence. The full moon is always in the opposite sign to the sun. So here it's in Capricorn. Now, Capricorn is a business sign. It's a sign of status. It's a sign of prestige. And the moon is close, and it will join Pluto on the same day. It does this every month. The moon will join all the different planets in turn as it passes through every sign of the zodiac. But a full moon brings things into prominence. Pluto, of course, is the god of the underworld. It's about psychological things that remain deep, unconscious, things that need to be explored. And of course, as everything that happens in the news will represent the themes of a new moon or a full moon in this case. So there have been news about more and more in the UK about sex scandals, older men grooming young girls, etc. That is very much a Moon-Pluto story. The caring aspect of Cancer cannot be, it's very, very important. That's what Cancer does. It is the mother energy, the great mother. And so there's a lot of energy there with 3 planets. Venus is love, Mercury is communication. So feelings are very ripe at this time. You might feel more tearful at this full moon. There's also, in the last week, Chiron, over here in Pisces, it's in that purple sector. Chiron has just formed a right angle to Mars. There's Mars up there in Gemini. That's a very stressful aspect, a square. It's action as well. But Mars is the masculine. It can be aggression, of course. In Gemini, it's about speaking, communication, and Chiron is about wounding. I have been aware myself of maybe being a little bit too sharp in my communication recently. So Chiron is retrograde now, and that means it in turn is going backwards, as seen from Earth, and that's always a time when a planet goes retrograde. It's actually closer to the Earth. There's quite a few retrograde planets at this time. Chiron is, Neptune is, Pluto. What also is going to happen very soon after this full moon and that will be on the 26th, is that Jupiter will go into the sign of Cancer, followed very soon by Mercury going retrograde. Now, Jupiter into the sign of Cancer is a whole big story. It's the main news, basically, of these few months, because it only does this once every year, and it's a large planet. It influences us greatly. But that Mercury retrograde, also in the sign of Cancer, is emphasizing at this time, right up until it will be retrograde in Cancer and go direct on July 21st, spending it right up until August in that sign, is emphasizing our hearts, our compassion, but also our needs, our emotional needs, and taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves. This full moon is also known as a supermoon, which means the moon is very close to the Earth and might look much larger than usual, emphasizing, as a full moon always does, feelings, but they really are becoming bigger and bigger. So the water signs, we're moving now into a full-blown water sign month with, the Sun in Cancer, Saturn in Scorpio, Neptune in Pisces, and these will form a trine as a flow of energy. And that is something deep. It's a deep process, and again, I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to do a webinar about Jupiter in Cancer and bring in those two other planets as well. Because Cancer is a cardinal sign, it means action. That's what cardinal signs are. They're the signs of the season. So they are turning points. They mean action, they mean direction. In the tarot, it's a card called the Chariot, which is all about leaving home. So leaving home, making a move, finding a direction is very important at this time. And Jupiter is helping that. Jupiter brings wisdom, brings guidance, or people into your life who are guides or mentors. The shadow side of a full moon is also important to consider. So Cancer's shadow is the over-clinging, not letting, like the crab, it doesn't let go. You think of the crab and its pincers, it just doesn't let go of things, holds on to memories, holds on to the past, isn't moving forward. The shadow side of Capricorn is control. It's the father, but it can also be status, prestige, selling out your soul for those things. So control is a big theme also for Capricorn. The other important point to know about this chart is to ask, what does each planet ask of me? I think that's a key point. Rather than that the planets aren't doing anything to us, that's a misnomer. It's synchronicity. But as they move, we are being asked to take into account what they represent. So to best use this full moon energy, I would be questioning, what does Jupiter ask of me? Because the Sun is so close to Jupiter. And then in turn, what is Pluto asking of me? Because it's so close to the moon. Those to me are the most key planets in this chart. But for you, it might be something else. It depends on your sign and what planet's going through your sign, or what other planet you may have in any of these signs. The slower the planet also, the more important it is. Pluto is the furthermost planet, and it takes a long time to go through a sign. It takes about 12 years, so it's very slow. But the fast-moving planets are immediate, and we feel those on a daily basis. So that is this chart for the full moon. Wrap things up, complete things, if you can, before Mercury goes retrograde, especially things that involve detail or fine print. It's always a wise thing to do. But Mercury retrograde is not to be feared. It's always about editing, reviewing, going back and seeing, oh, maybe that could be changed, and that could be presented in a better way. And with Venus there, It's also coming from the heart. How can I better express who I am? Might be if you're a writer or you're a business person, you have a biography. What am I showing to people? What am I expressing? Are they feeling who I really am in my heart? So this is the full moon, 23rd of June. Thank you for listening. Pam Carruthers, healingstars.com. And if you subscribe to my newsletter, you'll find out about the Jupiter webinar I'm giving. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.